And we are live. I, of course, am cheating. I have my phone handy to see when I can see myself so I sound slightly less ridiculous as I go, because we always have the fun lingering. As I said to everybody, we have a guest today. We have, and there I am. We have the wonderful, stupendous Leslie, my wife. She's been kind enough to join me on this mission to meet everybody. It's Christmas time.
Hi, everybody.
I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, and it's a good time for family. So what's not more casual than having Leslie here? Hey, Mitch, how you doing?
Hi, Mitch.
Lori Miller. All right.
Lori, that's a pretty name.
Definitely. Actually, I saw that there were some chats that were in a moment ago, but I don't see them here. So fantastic. Okay, I see that I've got some earlier stuff from Terry Story, the Joy Catcher, AP, Dreaming Cat Studio, Blue Smoke. How you doing? Yes, I have the best audience too. John Paxton. All right. Now, a couple of these folks, Blue Smoke and John Paxton, are both in the members group, and we had a really cool meetup. So I had an opportunity to meet everybody. Susan Ibitz. Hi.
Hi, Susan.
Everybody should know Susan and check out her episode. She's actually going to be back on next week for my final episode of the year. Her and her partner, Aaron. Melmac, how you doing? Let's see. Sam, how are you doing?
Does that say North Carolina?
Yes, Melmac's from North Carolina. Sam is from England.
Woohoo!
And Sam also is a member and was live with us on Sunday. Let's see. Somebody had asked questions, and I don't see the questions anymore. Dreaming Cat. Here's a question. What one thing are you most glad you know how to do? And the one thing you're most looking forward to learning? That's two questions. I'm going to ask Leslie that.
Run that by me again.
What
Sorry,
one
I got
thing?
distracted by Grazie.
Well, one of our children
Hi,
is
baby.
here. Good God. This is our young baby cat, if you will.
Grazie me, you.
He is not tiny. Let's just say that he's north of 20 pounds. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to jump back to that one earlier. I'm going to skip ahead because I'm going to have to think about the thing I'm glad I know. Susan, let's see. Was it Susan who asked how we met? Yes, Susan, how did we meet? Leslie, how did we meet?
I was in charge of the library at Fort Story down in Virginia Beach, and some goofy soldier walked in. The lady that was working with me, Jackie, said, "Oh, he's kind of cute." And I was like, "He's all right." And then I don't know how long it was after that this soldier came in, Theodore Wilzinski. Theodore came in and said, "Hey, are you dating anybody?" And I was like, no, not at the moment. Please don't let him ask me out. He asked me if I dated younger guys, and I said, well, it depends how much younger. And he's told me he had someone that he knew was interested in me. And when he told me, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I know him. Tell him to give me a call. So he came by the library and started talking to me.
That'd be me now.
Yeah.
Not Theodore.
Sergeant Hunley came by and we were talking, and he was trying to be quiet, but he was kind of stealth talking. So it was like, what? So I had this pin on, and he asked me if I was Wiccan because it had cats and stars and moons. And I thought he asked me if I was wicked. And I was like, what does he mean? Anyway, he finally said that he was interested in me, and he was walking out the door. He gave me his phone number so that I wouldn't feel pressured to give him my number. So that was kind of cool. That was interesting. As he was going out the door, he looks me up and down and goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm not just interested in your mind." And I was like, my, it's hot in here now.
So the shortened version of the story that Leslie usually says is that I went to the library and I checked her out.
You did?
There might be some late fees involved because I never really returned her.
Too bad. Quit that job. I moved on.
Okay, let me see. What do we have? This is the chat on the right, Leslie. So it can be
Really? Is that what that is?
fun to get through here. Somebody's asking, okay, in uncivil law, is he out of the inner circle? I don't know if there is an inner circle. Uncivil probably will be on the show actually early next week. We're kind of trying to work it out. So I don't know if there's any kind of circle. I know that Uncivil hangs out with Nate the lawyer and Viva Fry. I kind of know them through Viva Fry because we're really good friends, and I'm super thankful for such friendships because David or Viva has been an amazing friend, helpful mentor, one of the most generous people out there, and anyone he's connected to is pretty damn cool. That's just natural by default. Mew9. Let me see. I've had some great names on the podcast over the past few months. Can I tell the story of how I first started the podcast? How I've met all these great people? Sure. I haven't told this one for a while, but I am, first off, I would say, a professional podcast listener. I've been listening to podcasts and audiobooks. I actually listened to audiobooks even before podcasts back in, well, I have a book pusher next to me. I started listening to audiobooks fully, I'd say it was 2003, 2004, when we were moving back to Virginia. Finally got books that I liked. My wonderful wife bought me an iPod. And by the way, this is an iPod with the click wheel. So way back, but that was really cutting edge. And we managed to find it on eBay because there was no way we could afford it retail. It's super impressive device. I love that thing. Anyway, so I listened to audiobooks then. And then I got into podcasts because I'm kind of addicted to Apple products. And I loved talking about iPods and Apple and what was going on at the time. So I was listening to like Apple Podcasts and wanted to maybe start a show of my own. I was in drama back in high school. I'd done a little bit of theater. Leslie has watched me on stage like one time.
That was odd. What was that, 10 Little Indians?
Yes.
And he played the male lead. So I sat in the audience watching my husband kiss another woman. It was different. It was really different.
She doesn't remember much about the play, but two things. One, I kissed another woman, and two, my accent was so bad when I was trying to be British that we had an actual Brit in the cast at the last minute reading. And I don't know if I was dumb enough to ask or somebody else asked about my accent. He said, "Well, you're consistent wherever you're from." So that was terrible. But yeah, moving on, I wanted to do, I kind of mulled over doing a podcast. I thought it'd be, interesting to do. I maybe do one on Apple products, but then I was listening to Mac Break Weekly. I was listening to Daring Fireball, John Gruber, all these other people. And I thought, well, who's going to listen to me? I'm nobody. What do I have to offer? So I didn't really do anything. And later on, I was going to start a running podcast because I was starting to build a name in the running community at the time. But I think deep down, I knew that I would kind of run out of topics while running is far more complex than people realize, you do kind of spin in a circle. I think Leslie can confirm that I might have talked about running enough for her to hear in a couple lifetimes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that then led to me listening to a podcast called Mixed Mental Arts. And Mixed Mental Arts actually was the Brian Callen show. Then it was Mixed Mental Arts. Then it was the Brian Callen show / Mixed Mental Art. Now it's just kind of a mess. But I discovered that show because I listened to other shows and I read books like Freakonomics and all that. And ironically, Hunter Motz, who is the co-host of Mixed Mental Arts, was on Joe Rogan. And later on, I saw a Sam Harris appearance on Joe Rogan. He was complaining about this jerk, Hunter Motz, on the show. I don't know why, but I was like, well, he's complaining about the guy. I should go see who that guy is. So I looked him up, looked up the podcast, and I saw that they interviewed all these authors. And these were authors I actually read, about brain science and all kinds of, crazy things. So I got addicted to that. I hung out with the Facebook group with Hunter Motz and all of them. And the problem is that the group is super, super intellectual. And they were pretty much all smarter than me. A lot of them knew it. And it kind of became, to quote Hunter, a intellectual dick measuring contest. So I really decided I kind of wanted to talk to people myself, get an opportunity to talk to authors and maybe ask them some questions. But I'm not out there to challenge anybody. I'm not out there to prove, oh, look, I'm smarter than you or I'm smarter than the author. I genuinely want to know. And everybody I have on is more of an expert than me. I think that's kind of the secret of my show, is that there's usually only one expert in the conversation, and it's not me. I'm here to learn, just like all of you. I'm learning with you. And I really, really, really enjoy that. And I'm very thankful that you're all here to join me and learn as well. So long story short, became a podcast March 15th, 2018. And come around late 2019, in November, I was at Disney and Chase Hughes gave me a call out of the blue. I was with Leslie. We were in the hotel and I was like, oh, it's Chase. And he was like, we need to do a video interview. And I said, Chase, I do a podcast. I have a face for radio. I don't do video. And he's like, yeah. We need to do a video interview. And as you know, he does mind control. So he probably was secretly hypnotizing me or forcing me against my will to go ahead and do this. And I was like, okay. And I came up with a date and I figured that we use my iPhone, his iPhone, and there's good cameras and try it. And he did offer to drink with me and we'd have fun. So time comes along in December, and essentially he called me the day before saying, hey, I got offered a class at Fort Bragg. Do you mind if I skip that? And I'm like, oh, dude, you're going to make money. Go ahead. Meanwhile, I'm kind of going, oh, thank God. Dodged a bullet. Then I thought about it, though, a little bit more, and essentially realized that, all these people are talking about live streaming. And there's a whole live stream this, live stream that. It was all the rage. It was all hot stuff in the podcasting community. Let me see. What if I did a live stream? And Chase has a lot of people who follow him. Maybe I could do one. I don't have to do a ton of research. If the people actually come in and ask questions, I'll do a live stream. It'll take some of the work off of me. We'll have fun, hopefully. It'd be a little scary, but hopefully. And let's see how it goes. So I did that January 30th of this year. It went really well. There was a bunch of people in. People were asking questions, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" I'm talking, and we're going back and forth. The questions are coming in. This is just, it's magical. It's dynamic. This is almost the easiest gig ever. It was just so cool because everything's going right. So I know what I'm going to do another one. I've got the habit, and I know just the guy. He's got a huge YouTube audience. Viva Fry. I'm gonna have him on. We're gonna do a live stream. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have everybody's gonna be riffing. He's got such a big audience. They'll be there. So I went ahead and scheduled it. I did the live stream the next week. There was about 4 people watching, and there was 1 question the entire hour. And I believe that was from Mitch Kokashan, who's in the group watching now or left a comment earlier. So that brought me down to earth pretty quickly. And ever since then, I have just continued to try to bring guests who are more oriented into either behavioral or crime, law enforcement, some authors, some military, things like that. And most of all, just hopefully really, really interesting people. Because I had a couple of years of podcast and I had interviewed a lot of people before, I had a reputation. There's a nice sound of a light crashing down, but fortunately we didn't lose anything. Yes, this is a last minute operation here. And here we are now. I have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest, and I have been talking continuously, letting my very special guest sit here going, is he done yet? I hear this all the time.
I'm used to it.
Actually, that's an inside joke because Leslie always listens to my side of every interview because she's often in the next room over. So today, ironically, she still has to listen to just the other side of the interview because, well, there's nobody here but her.
I'm trapped. By the way, I really like Richard.
What's that?
You see what he said?
Oh, yes.
That's very sweet. Thank you, Richard.
Oh, gee, yes. This is my lovely bride, Leslie, and you are quite right. She is a gorgeous, gorgeous woman, and I'm super lucky to have her.
Thank you.
All right.
Favorite marsupial?
I don't know.
Platypi are kind of interesting, but I'd probably have to go with.
Is an opossum?
Isn't a kangaroo a marsupial?
Isn't it an opossum? I like possums. They get a bad rap. I think they're actually kind of cute. There are some of those that are so ugly they're cute, but they have a rough time. And if they're not marsupials, I'll just say kangaroo because I don't really know. Mel Mac, you'd like to guess? Thank you so much. Susan, I should do more shows together. Well, so far I've managed to get her on 2 Christmas shows. Last year for an interview, I managed to get her to do it because one of her favorite Christmas songs is "Meet Me Under the Mistletoe," and I got a hold of the artist who performed the song and invited her to do an interview, and got my wife to co-host it for the interview. So she actually was kind enough to join me for that one, but she's not super into being in the show. I'll let her explain.
Well, y'all talk a lot of politics, and I'm not really into that. If we want to talk library stuff, I can push library things. Read audiobooks. It's not cheating, seriously.
It's not.
Other than the things that I'm into, which are probably not podcast or live stream worthy. I watch a lot of HGTV and DIY, but that's already on air. They don't need my commentary on that. Wasn't doing much else this evening when I got pulled into the room. I was baking cookies.
Yes, and
you can smell the ginger.
We can provide a cookie list of what are being made this year if folks are interested in that. Definitely chat or comment below. I'll try to remember to put in the description. Got a serious question from Mr. Fluffy G. Where do I draw my line in the sand when it comes to COVID mandates? under any circumstances would I raise arms against the government, or would we? Um, that's really quite a stretch to consider because honestly, what exactly am I supposed to do? I'm more I'm probably more effective to sit here with a microphone and talk to people or try to get a message out with something I agree with or don't agree with and talk to lawyers like Barnes who may bring a case forward. I can't see raising arms. That's just a quick way to ending my life. And I don't want to die on that hill. So that's, I don't know. I mean, I don't agree with what I feel is a lot of hypocrisy in the mandates and what are going on, especially a lot of, what's good for me is not good for thee type of scenarios where you have a governor who's locking down all the restaurants and everything else, meanwhile going in and getting multi-$100 meals from donors. I think we all know that that's pretty scummy behavior. We have many others who are saying, hey, you can't visit your family, and they're off visiting their family. Seems more than a little hypocritical. But what am I going to do about it? Probably sit here and bitch.
Raising arms against the government would probably not be an option since we're in a government heavy area.
Yeah. It definitely.
Not that I would do that anyway.
Well, you guys can ask some good questions. With all the world-class experts you've had on the podcast, if you had to pick one piece of advice / tip that you received and been able to apply it in a consistent, impactful way, what would that be? Listen. Say it's to listen. Ironically, I'm doing nothing but talking right now, but really listen to what they're telling you. And this applies not only from body language, because honestly, like the whole body language spectrum, I can read people to a degree. Leslie can tell you that I sometimes can be very accurate at it.
Freakishly so.
But I'm not a Chase Hughes. I'm not a Scott. I'm not one of these guys who baseline me and make me just go, "Ugh, thank God I didn't do a crime because this is really uncomfortable." Um, but I'm probably even better at listening. And I think I drive Leslie crazy because I will listen to very specifically what words are said. And they're very relevant. And quite often that will spoil plots to TV shows and movies. But and I think that's why statement analysis is I'm very attracted to that, is because I will listen to the chosen words that are spoken, and I'm looking for those little spaces, those little things. It's like, well, you didn't exactly answer that question, but you did say this, so I'm speculating it's something else. And I think that listening can go around for doing that, or just listen to tell you, listen to what they're trying to tell you, because maybe they're saying that you're doing something that's annoying them, or maybe they're saying you're doing something good, bad, otherwise. So that's probably the biggest one. And the one that I have to consider that's sort of tied to it is to try not to let my ego get into it. Because while I can listen to every nuance of what people say, maybe they don't mean it aggressively when they say it, or maybe they don't actually mean it negatively. Maybe I need to get over myself. So that's the I guess the second part of it is to always try to temper it. So listen to it, absorb it, and then actually kind of wait and see what exactly it means, or how things ring.
I need to interject something. I think that behind most of it is innate curiosity. You and I share that.
Sure.
But I think you're curious about people,
Oh yeah,
what they have to say, what are they doing, what is it they're trying to say, and that's part of that listening and learning.
definitely. Definitely. And actually, you know what? That probably is the main theme of the show, or what I am doing with the show is I am actually living vicariously through the guests. I mean, through John Fitzgerald, I'm helping catch the Unabomber. That's awesome. You know, I'm reliving catching Pablo Escobar, and just all these amazing people. And honestly, I don't do this stuff. I listen and absorb, and I live through others. People who are my members know that the majority of my updates are from guess where? Well, the grocery store, because I am such a creature of habit and so lame at this point. Ironically, when you have your phones hooked up, I have CarPlay in my car, and Siri will auto suggest where I'm going. And it used to be work. Now I've been working at home. Thank you, COVID. So COVID's not always bad. But Siri just auto suggests the store because that's all I do is I'm at home or I'm at the grocery store. Those are my great travels. So it is kind of ironic that my space is very small.
Let's clarify why you're at the grocery store.
Why am I at the grocery store?
Because you're hunting and gathering.
Exactly. It's not just buying groceries, it's hunting and
No,
gathering.
it's much more manly than that.
Definitely. Definitely. All right, Camille, thank you very much. I I definitely am curious, and I also love, and I talked about this with the meetup with the members on Sunday, but I'm probably going to start doing almost all live streams, even with the interviews, because I think that having you guys involved helps stoke my curiosity even more, and I really love the community and building up on the questions and answers. And what you doing? And it just it makes it a much more fun experience. By the way, that's Grazi again, for those who missed it earlier. The not small cat that you'll notice we grunt when we pick him up. It's because he's big boned.
Like Cartman.
Like Cartman. All right. Who do we have here? All right. Hey, Gavin. Hey, Beth. Face for yeah, Van Art Fitness. Haha, I wish I would have asked what Chase is like when he drinks. You know, I don't know if I really want to be drinking too much around Chase because it's like, oh, I won't know my name is probably afterward. All right. Are you aware that you made a community is connected? Am I aware that I made a community is connected thanks to my video? And well, thank you. Thank you. I really, 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 really hope that I have, because I just love seeing the faces and learning from everybody. Oh, this is a good question. Out of all the lawyers I've had on, which one am I asking to represent me in a civil case? Now, this is a great question, because the natural inclination would be for me to say, oh, well, I like this lawyer better, or this one's more friendly, or this one's that. But it's actually pretty easy. Barnes. I think that Barnes has both the pedigree and the joy of actually getting out there scrapping in court. I haven't had Dershowitz on, but I would take him. Having a legend who's been in front of the Supreme Court and taught at Harvard would be nice too. But out of all the lawyers I've had on, I would say definitely Barnes. And the reason is because he is practicing law. That's his primary thing, is law. He's doing it. Viva David, he is moving to YouTube. Primarily he does do some law. Rakeda, YouTuber, Nate, pretty much a YouTuber, but he was shifting away from it. Uncivil does more patent law. He hasn't been on yet, but I'm going to throw him in because he could be. Emily Baker, haven't had her on, but she will be. And hint, I'm telling everybody, so you stick around because these are some awesome guests. But she also has moved away from the law. So it kind of makes the decision really easy because you have Robert Barnes. Barnes is definitely in the thick of it and doing great. And he's out there. You realize that if Donald Trump can call him for some help, I probably would love to have him as well. And A. Joe, thank you, sir. That is awesome. And I cannot wait. I hope you have a video coming soon. I missed your, I saw your shorts, but A. Joe, everybody should check out his channel. He does these fantastic videos, amazing stuff, and they're all using a phone. Now it's not an iPhone, so it's slightly lesser, but he really can work the hell out of an Android and is just amazing. Great sense of humor, really fun to watch. And hey, Joe, get another video out, man. And thank you so much. All right. Blue Smoke. I got to meet Blue Smoke on Sunday. It shows that I like learning. I like video. I hear better when I can see. It's nice to meet my wife. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Susan Brewer, I absolutely agree. Leslie is lovely.
Thank you.
And let me see. Yes, raccoons. We need to talk. Leslie has some questions for you, Susan, because I have told stories that you have told me, Susan, about your pet wild raccoons and cold weather. So I'm going to let Leslie take this away for a minute.
Susan, yesterday evening we were riding around looking at Christmas lights, and I was like, so wait, she opened the door and they're just running around in the house? They're wild animals. They're in the house? Are you okay?
Okay, so backstory. Susan has raccoons. They're wild raccoons from the area that she has taken on essentially as pets. And apparently, she lives in the Chicago greater area, Indiana, and it's very, very cold. And Susan, being a wonderfully warm person, decided, well, we'll let them in from the outside. And apparently, that's part of the reason that she tripped and got injured, because I guess they were underfoot.
Like cats.
Yes, like our cats, they're bad enough. We're just wondering if Susan might be a little bit touched having raccoons running all over inside of the house. And we want to find out more. So please jump in the comments and hopefully I will see some. Let's see. And a Joe, hello from Joe and Polly. Awesome. Thank you. And okay, somebody else agrees, Megan, that the opossum is the only marsupial in North America. So opossum for the win.
Woohoo.
And we can definitely say they're the best one in North America then, right? Right. Oh, okay. I think
still have a question unanswered.
Yeah, I must. Red
early.
Yeah, Red Guy asked a question. He's saying he usually asks it to throw people off guard, and I was thrown so off guard that I completely missed the question. Oh, marsupial.
No, it was before that.
Do you remember it?
It was about what you were most...
Oh, from Dreaming Cat Studio. Is that the one?
That was good.
Yes. What thing am I most glad I know how to do? And one thing I'm looking most forward to learning. I think, and it's something I've discovered that I'm able to do over time. It's taken a while, but build rapport with a guest through respect and research. So I guess research. That might be it. I do have an ability to research. I am no librarian, but I married a reference librarian, and I think she can confirm that I can hold my own finding information.
You're not bad.
So while I'm not, at the full status, I do well enough. And I think that the ability to research well, find things that guests are not expecting to hear or see is probably one of my superpowers, because that gets them to feel more considered. I've done research. I've bothered to find things about them. I do crazy things like actually read their book and ask genuine questions about it. So that, I believe, really has been super effective.
And you go off the beaten path.
I definitely do go off the beaten path. Oh God, I've got super chats in here too, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if I miss a super chat, please tell me later. I'm using Restream, and I've talked to the developers about it. They do a really poor job, and I can't see the super chats as easily. So it's very, 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 very difficult for me to make sure I get them. So if I miss one, I apologize. Okay, where do we have? Oh, here we're back
Favorite
here.
vacation spot? Wait, did you answer the second part of that question?
Oh, what was
about
this?
What are you glad you know? What do you want to learn?
What do I want to learn? I actually want to learn the skills of the people that I interview, specifically like body language and stuff. Like, while I can kind of gauge people and read people and stuff like that, I do not have formal knowledge of it. So I'm hoping that over time that I am learning it, even if it's by osmosis. But I would like to learn that to better strengthen my interviews even more. So I want to learn that, and I also want to learn to perform better. I'm decent at speaking, but I still here and there. I can lose track. I can get flustered with myself. All of these things, they come with time. I hope to keep getting better at it. Leslie, what are you so glad that you know?
I don't know. I know a lot of various things. I don't deep dive like you do. I can trip lightly across most subjects, and
I don't agree.
Stuff that I don't know, I can tell people where to go.
You deep dive in genealogy. You deep dive in cooking. You deep dive in home improvement. We have different,
that's true.
different loves.
Yeah.
So I can speak. Well, I have mixed feelings because I love the fact that you're a brilliant cook.
Yes, and it shows. It
shows, and the doctor's been talking to me lately. So not a fun time. Okay, so here we go. Don't marsupials have a pouch?
We already covered that.
Yeah, I don't know that they do. I thought they did. Favorite vacation spot? Yes. I think one of the most stunning spots I've ever seen was all in one trip visiting some relatives in Lakeside, Montana. I was blown away by Flathead Lake and the eagles and just being on a boat out there. And even more impressive was in Canada. What is it? Prince Albert? Prince of Wales.
Prince of Wales.
Hotel.
In
Glacier. But it's across the line. It's in Canada. Waterton. Was it Alberta, right? Was not in Alberta, Canada. Anyway,
yeah, we were great tourists.
Yeah. It's so impactful. I can't quite get the details, but it did mean a lot. Anyway, but the view from there is probably the most stunning view I've ever seen. Looking over the water into the mountains and realizing that I was kind of looking through a gate or passage into the United States where I am from. I really, 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 really love that.
And that was back when you could cross the border
Oh yeah,
with
driver's
with
license.
the driver's license and the cute little Canadian girl who went, "Hello, what's the reason for your visit? Do you have any firearms?" Very pleasant. And then when we came back, the guy from the US, it was like
You have any fruit?
someone had made him go work there when he didn't want to. He was miserable. I was like, "Oh yay, I'm so glad I'm back home because you're stunning."
Let's see. And then in general, my favorite vacation spot though is I love it when we're in a small area or part of a town to where when we vacation, I don't have a car and I could do everything by walking and riding around in a tour bus. We've done it in Chicago. When I was up in Boston, I did the duck tours. I really just love being on foot and just kind of plopping into a place and just wandering. Got
Stanton.
Stanton, Virginia, really awesome place. Surprising. It's kind of country out there, but then the buildings have architecture levels of Chicago. It just it's craziness. They had an architect who lived there, and he was like an award-winning guy, and this whole town is represented. It's really amazing. Let's see, Viden the cold one. Hello again, Mr. Hunley. Thank you, sir. I think Viden. I think I met him through the Ricada um, interview on Monday. Wow, what kind of audiobooks? Any author I'd recommend? Well, I'd recommend most of the authors that I've had on the show. I mean, I've had FBI agents, I've had people like Don Bentley on. Of course, if you're into the body language, I have all these experts on. Scott Rouse has a new book out coming up. Um, I'm actually narrating Chase Hughes' two books. So that would be nice if people check that out when I get done. Changing plans. I won't be doing the ellipsis manual first. I am doing phrase, not phrase 7. I'm doing 6-minute X-ray first. Pure survival. It's half the length of the ellipse manual, so there's a chance I'll actually finish it in a decent amount of time. So that's hopefully coming soon, and I will be working on that over the upcoming weeks.
What about fiction?
As far as fiction goes, Michael Connelly, always a great choice. I like Baldacci before he became another James Patterson. He kind of is a James. He's trying really hard. Anyway, Baldacci through say 2006 or 7. I mean, I really, really, really liked him a lot. John Sanford, all the Prey series, Prey. I definitely like those.
Fender?
Joseph Fender is great. Awesome author. Harlan Coben. Harlan Coben is the one author that suckers me almost every time. And I'm the annoying person who guesses the who did it in books, and he gets me every time. It's like he got into my brain somehow and figured out my thought processes and just said, "Oh, well, we'll just do this over here." And he doesn't cheat. It all lines up. So it's like, "Oh, damn you. That was fair play. You bastard. You got me again." Let's see. What are you into, Leslie?
Well, I've been working on genealogy off and on since the 80s. I have most of both of our families back about 10 generations. Cooking, home improvement, with the desire for extra husbands who can make stuff, build stuff, and clean up after themselves. Obviously, I like reading. I taught myself kind of with the help of YouTube and memories of my mom to sew. I've actually made a couple of things, worn them. They didn't fall apart. washed them, wore them again. They still didn't fall apart, so that was good. I don't know. I think, you know, with the COVID thing, I kind of discovered that I like nesting, making a beautiful nest and parking my butt and enjoying the fact that I didn't have to go into the office. No, I love work. I love going into work.
She did.
Yeah, I really enjoyed being home.
It's been less so over time.
Well, I want to retire, and Eric won't let me.
Nope.
Let's not go any further. Honeymooned where? We honeymooned in New Orleans, and that was in 98. Long time ago. We got married in 98.
Yes.
But we met in 96 and lived in sin for a couple years.
Yes, we did. I like Holmes' Blue Smoke. Yes, growing up, I haven't really read a lot of it for a long time, but I do appreciate Holmes and, obviously the place in history. Let's see. This is a tough one. Book or books that had the biggest influence on my life?
Oh, I got that one.
Go.
Terry McMillan's How Stella Got Her Groove Back was extremely influential. It opened my mind to the possibility of dating someone younger, not as young as Stella did, but approaching it and, being okay with it. There are days when it's like, I'm feeling really old and I hate you because you're younger.
And other days you just taste me.
But I would say that for that reason only, I really, really liked that book and really enjoyed it. My undergraduate degree is in English, so I read all the good stuff. Love Shakespeare, Chaucer, Spenser's Fairy Queen. Really, really got into that. Your turn.
Books like Malcolm Gladwell's books really got me thinking about a lot of things. Freakonomics is one of my favorites. Born to Run was just a profound book for me, considering the idea of how we developed over time to actually run and that being something that separates humans. God, this is a tough one. Stephen King, The Stand. I probably, just is a book I deeply, deeply love. I don't know if it had a huge influence, but it is one of those books that I'm depressed when I finish. And there's not a lot of those, but where I'm so caught up in the world and I'm like, wait, son of a bitch, it's done. Now, how am I supposed to re-enter society or re-enter what's going on around me? But
we brought that up earlier this year with the blue flu.
Oh yeah.
Thing. I mean that was kind of like.
Joy Catcher. Don't know what this is about. New York, Honeydown, UK people find them over 1,000. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Okay, so am I happy about the $600 check?
I don't know that we're going to be getting that.
Yeah, I probably won't. But am I happy about it? No, I don't think that. I think that they're cheaping out. I think there's a lot of scummy stuff in that bill, like a typical congressional thing. You have a bill, you call it something like COVID relief, and then you pack in a bunch of garbage that has no relevance whatsoever. Yeah, it was total pork, and I'm over it. I mean, it is very, very, very difficult not to be cynical about the fact that we're supposed to, be in such a pandemic. It's shutting down the country everywhere, and they throw around things like, oh, it'll be $600. It's 8 months later, people are out their job. It's almost like rubbing a little salt in it. It's just rude. So no, not thrilled. Where are we? DC? No, we're not in DC. We're in the Virginia Beach area. We live in Hampton, but all the cities here, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, they're all kind of going together on the coast of Virginia. Let's see. Oh, Joycatcher, they're saying that the UK is bringing a new strain of COVID in South Africa. So they're not allowed in New York. Okay.
Mm.
I'm sure that he'll just lock them in nursing homes.
Ooh.
That's the way he likes to handle it.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, wow. The post said I was. Okay. Sorry. Crispy pointed out somehow my posted sign said that this was taking place on December 25th. No, I'm not going to do this
He
on
was
Christmas.
not allowed. Absolutely not allowed.
Well, and I would not do that. Out of courtesy, tell you guys I know that you want to be with your family. And by the way, that's again Merry Christmas. And while my shirt may not reflect the strongest feelings for it, I really
think I'm
do
doing
care.
a little bit better.
Yes, hers does.
Okay. Yeah, I know that was geeky. So what?
I bought it for her, so
It was a Christmas Eve present.
Right, because you need to be able to wear it on Christmas Eve. Jeez.
So what are we doing Christmas Eve? Do you have my cookie list?
Oh, I do have the cookie list.
Okay, cookie list you can share.
I can definitely share that with everyone. I remind me to put in the description later.
Please put it in.
Well, no, later, like when it's relevant.
Oh, okay. Also listening to Christmas music, and I shared with him some of my favorites this year.
Yes, Leslie built a Christmas list now. We're not on Spotify. I guess it would have been really cooler if she just put it together on Spotify and said, well, and we could share it out. But we're on Apple Music. We could put it together there and share it.
I just made a list and texted it to you. That was pretty good. Today we went to the cemetery to put flowers on grandparents and my mom's graves, and came home and baked a little. Probably should have done some laundry, but that's gonna wait.
I got a vacuum.
Yes. Mr. He wants a lump of coal still has presents to wrap and lots of vacuuming. Lots of are there presents for me in here? What's this?
Yeah, do not turn away from the audience. The audience is very important. You should not.
They probably want to know what's in that box too.
I'm sure they do, but no, they don't want to know that bad. So that's actually answering, I guess, Samantha. Thank you. That is our Christmas Eve.
Oh, and we're gonna exchange one present. We always do like one present on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And I think we're gonna watch the Christmas Chronicles too.
Are we? Oh, okay.
Why not?
Okay. Okay, DK Me. Thank you so much for the super chat. And happy holidays to you too. And I'm very, very happy to bring you all the content I can, and I deeply appreciate that you like it. Thank you very much. Okay. I guess here's a deep question. Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings? Well, I've never read Harry Potter, and I've fallen asleep every time somebody's tried to play a movie. I did read Lord of the Rings, and the movies are excruciatingly long for me too. So I'll say Lord of the Rings by a nose, but please don't make me do it again. Let's see. Do I pay attention to memes? Matt Henderson. I guess somewhat, but I'm also like, I'm an Xer, and people probably call me a boomer half the time, but so I don't always get all the memes. I pay attention to what I can see and understand. Some things I don't understand completely. Like I do understand Kakistan and Pepe and different things, but I don't know all the ins and outs. Thank you, Joycatcher. I do try to listen well. Let's see. Yes, Crispy. I think we're probably all in agreement. Politicians saying one thing and then treating themselves as privileged. Yep. Yes. I can't, express it any further than that. Let's see. Okay, you wanted to know what my background is, what kind of work I did and do outside of YouTubing. Well, interestingly enough, or boring, depend on your perspective. I was in the army when I met Leslie, and that was back in the 90s. Ironically, I went into the army for one job, cook, which I hated.
You got suckered.
Yeah, I got tricked into it because they offered a bonus and they said, "Oh, don't worry. When they see that you write articles, they'll put you right on the paper." Turns out they did while I was cooking. So I still had the whole cook job and I was supplying articles on the paper for that. I'm not bitter or anything, but anyway, moving on to the next thing. I then went to Cuba to help migrants, worked the ration yard, all that. I was in the army, in the worst job in the army as a cook, in the worst duty station in the army at Fort Irwin, California, which is next to Death Valley, and would hit 120 degrees by 10, 11 in the morning. Absolutely miserable. And to make things worse, I worked on gasoline burners on MKTs, which is a kitchen. So outside it'd be 120 something degrees. Inside there would be 6 gasoline stoves in a trailer. So we would work 5-minute shifts, literally, because it was about 180 to 185 degrees inside. So a very, very, very uncomfortable suck job. But I did learn while I was there. And one of the best things about it is if you survive a job that you despise in a place that you despise and you keep going on, it does help you figure out, well, I can cope and move forward. So to get out of there in the army, when you reenlist, you can choose either a new job or a new duty station. So I had the quandary of the worst job in the worst place. So I did a little bit of research and I found out about another job in the army called Stevedore or 88 Hotel. And the job was all about loading boats and ships. Guess what you won't find next to Death Valley? There aren't any boats or ships. As a matter of fact, the only place that stevedores existed were in Fort Eustis, Virginia, which is Newport News, and Fort Story, Virginia, which is Virginia Beach, or right on the coast, one of the best beaches in the area. So I reenlisted as an 88 Hotel and managed to move to the job here. And ironically, the only time I spent actually doing the job was within my first couple of weeks. We did an exercise, and then I got moved to be a trainee NCO at the office with the captain and everybody else. Now, where this came into effect and how it's all relevant now, because this is a long winded way of getting here, I had to do a PowerPoint presentation and I can get a little OCD. Yes, you can watch the commentary on the side.
That's
But
my poker face.
in order to do it, I had to create a PowerPoint. The PowerPoint slides, I scanned pictures in there and spent a ton of time working on getting them perfect. So I would zoom in on the pixel level, just picking out every single line or smudge to try to make them look as good as humanly possible. And even bought a handheld scanner. And at that point, Leslie, she loves to tell the story. So go ahead.
What about the hand scanner?
Yeah.
That was pretty early days of computer stuff, and I had already gotten computers at the library and had to install circuit boards inside and attach SCSI, if anybody knows that word, SCSI devices. So I kind of was comfortable with that. Well, he had not ever been inside of one of the computers, so when he got that hand scanner, he had to install the circuit board and was what if I break it? What happens? What? Oh, And
Yeah.
so later on, when he got more proficient in computers, I'd be like, yeah, don't get too big, because I remember you dancing around going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
And there you have it. Now, ironically, because I can make good slides, this is the Army. This is how the logic goes. Oh, you make good slides, so you know everything about computers. Go fix the captains.
No pressure.
Yeah, but I actually kind of did do it. I was able to do it. And that launched me into, if you will, a tech support career. I left the Army, went to work for Gateway. Yes, the cow boxes. I'm aging myself. But they were really cool, really hip at the time. They had all the cow boxes. I worked there for a bit and then got moved into a networking job from somebody else who was at Fort Story. From there, I moved to Atlanta in charge of a network operations center, one of the teams. I worked a shift. And then from there, I moved back to Tucson, where I was from, and decided to teach networking and wound up teaching, I think it's 27 subjects over the period of a year, which went from everything with networking, Novell, Microsoft, to programming and web programming and everything else. Essentially, after 2000, every job I've had has been kind of written off of my resume. And I have just a very weird background. So I sort of backed into everything. And now I primarily do tweaking on the web stuff that I've done and pretty boring database updating and information for financial systems. It's pretty stultifying. Let's see.
But you're at home.
I am at home now. Well, that's one of those. The good news is, and the bad news is, and it's the same thing. The good news is that you can work from home. And the bad news is you can work from home. Because even on the days off, I'm pretty much always working. All right, Susan Brewer, 70-year-old ex-courtroom cop groupie who wanted to be an attorney but chose to have a family instead. So yeah, that really fits me really well. I mean, there's a lot of things I've thought, wow, it'd be cool to be a lawyer. I kind of wanted to be a cop, but then I realized that the smell of death would just kill me. I have big problems with that. Didn't want to do that. And I agree. Leslie is great.
Blue smoke, I love you. And blue is my favorite color. Used to smoke, don't anymore.
There you go. Nom de plume. It's got my back. Bargaining is very
Nice. It is, and you're much better at math than I am. So that's why you get to do that.
I always love these. I see them in the comments too. Yep, cat. Sam says viruses mutate and change all the time. It's to be expected. We got to do the best and behave. Yeah, yes, I agree. And
Very
honestly,
little things trying to kill us.
there were problems too where coincidentally every reaction seems to work in their favor in building more power and keeping people in line. That's something that bothers me. Let's see. Thank you. Great insight, both of you. Thank you very, very much, Van Ert. And Van Ert gave me a super chat. Thank you so much. That
That's
really,
awesome.
really, that's awesome. Thank you. Most importantly, Gracie is a big cat. Absolutely.
Do you remember how much he was the last time we weighed him?
He's almost 25 pounds.
He's big.
I guess he is pretty, and my wife is more. I
Oh,
agree.
thank you.
I agree. And by the way, his brother, Gizmo, some of you have seen him. Gizmo would argue that he's the pretty one. Trust me. Grazie's actually pretty humble. Yes, he is fluffy. It's fantastic. Merry Christmas to you too, Salinist. Parlor? Or is it Salonist? Salonist. Yeah. Michael Grant, thank you very much. And Merry Christmas and God bless you too. Nom de plume. Happy Christmas to us all. Don't remember what that question is. Viva, don't know the context, Joe. I probably was, yeah, that was half hour ago. So I don't know. Favorite Monty Python bit. Oh my. I'd say probably the meaning of life. Eric Idle singing the Insignificant song. Just remember that essentially that you have no value whatsoever. And yes, I love that. And I also love the Every Sperm is Sacred song. I love the meaning of life. That is a fun treat. Also, the one thin little wafer, just one thin wafer, and the guy blows up. That was a treat. I try to be mature.
It's just a flesh wound.
Those are cool too. All right, let's see. Wow. Leslie, if you need to choose a topic that is not on the pod, what would it be?
I don't know. Gardening?
Yeah, Leslie will be doing her own pod.
Yeah. No. I don't know.
This is actually
That's all I got.
fantastic question. Any desire to do drastically different one-off show, like interviewing an astrologer who helped with this crime scene or someone who participates in an interest of yours? Yeah, there's always interest in that, and that's something that I've got to be careful with, because like you guys, I feel like kind of expect a certain type of show, and if I diverge some to go completely nuts, like I'm a huge fan of Apple stuff, and I would love to get an Apple expert on and just nerd out and talk tech and talk about the new laptops or whatever. But that probably wouldn't be appropriate. So I think that I can fulfill a little bit of that when I guest co-host on Grumpy Old Geeks. A friend of mine, Jason DeFilippo, and I love listening to them, and it's awesome to be on there and kind of nerd out. But I don't. I have trouble. I have trouble doing it on here because I have to try to be cognizant. And even now, sometimes I feel like, for example, the director of the Leonard Skinner movie, I don't know if it was necessarily appropriate for the show. I got, a lot of views, a lot of people who came in, but that was very different than a lot of the rest of this content. So that's a good example. Don't know if it's good. Michael Grant, Barnes has a depth of knowledge and drive. Absolutely. And I think this goes back to my saying that he'd be my lawyer. Yes, I agree with that as well. Barnes is very prepared, doesn't care what others think. He actually enjoys it when they think differently too. That's the fun part about Barnes is he loves the fight. Let's see, Samantha. What would I have for my last meal?
Starter, a main, and a pudding. That sounds rather British.
Yeah. Let me see. Calamari. I mean, I'm just gonna say things I like, and they maybe don't go together. So that's a hard one. So it's gonna be my last meal. I want to be a smart ass about it though. Be like, if it really is my last meal, I would want to say something like, I would have to get those truffles that are only found like 1 week of the year in the farthest reaches in the world. So it would be like a fried calamari, and then a ribeye steak lightly covered with truffles that are near impossible to find because I could then be waiting on my meal and keeping myself alive a little bit longer. What would the pudding be? Probably tiramisu and beer. Right, very easy one there. Definitely, the drink would be beer, and I'll keep in the spare. Guinness would be something your way, even though it's Ireland, not necessarily, but close enough. Guinness still cool. All right, Gavin, a huge thank you for the doors I've opened in his life. Well, thank you so much. Ah, you love the intro music. Thank you. What is my favorite style of music? Very interesting. I think that probably classic rock. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, Jethro Tull, but I also like Lou Reed. Leslie's not a big fan
I like
of
Jethro Tull in
and Pink
small
Floyd,
amounts and Pink Floyd.
but not Lou Reed. He's an
Walk
acquired
on the Wild
taste.
Side. Walk on the Wild Side is good.
But very good. I also like a little bit of kind of techno industrial EDM, I guess. I'm not super deep in it, but I like some of the bands. I especially like that when I was running. There's a band called Infected Mushroom who has some amazing tunes that are really really cool. Um, yep, Barnes, I agree. He doesn't care what people thinks. He does what he wants. Thank you, Idiosyncratic. I really do appreciate that. Merry Christmas, Conservative Voices. And no worries. And oh, Susan's saying what? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Okay, folks, we've been burying the lead for a while. The raccoons sleep in Susan's bed.
Seriously? Really?
Folks, Susan, I think, is single.
Susan's awesome.
All right. Sorry. Gamer's Life. Barnes is your choice as well. Yep. I agree. Bulldog. Joycatcher thinks that's scary, Susan. Nom de plume. What?
Your little
Paws are
paws.
cute. Blue Smoke loves the raccoons. Okay. Sam has a show that prompted her to ask about the food.
Mm.
I'm guessing adopted into nurseries about the raccoons. Joycatcher, they eat everything and poop. So messy and okay. And she loves her raccoons. I think raccoons are cool,
They're
but
beautiful.
just insane. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Cindy. Which of the behavior panel would I be most intimidated by if I were lying? Good question. Um, probably Greg. Greg is definitely the more harder edged alpha. They call him their alpha. So he's pretty blunt. Remember Leslie in the Dr. Phil, the one who said right out the gate, the bald dude, like me, who was like, yeah, well, everything out of your mouth right went right at him. That was Greg.
Oh yeah.
So probably
He
him.
didn't mess around. He was straightforward.
No. And considering the fact that he ran Sear School, which is it's
They don't
essentially
play.
yeah, it's where they practice I hate to say torturing prisoners, but it's kind of like that, for enemy combatant training. Let's see. I'm gonna have to scroll down a bit more. See if I get a question in here. Oh yeah, everybody, do please support the Rumble channel. I definitely will. Thank you for saying that about that. I will try to go ahead and upload this hopefully tonight. I'm really thankful. Somebody commented on the Rumble channel. They were waiting for a video to come up, and I was like, "Oh, good! So somebody's watching now. I know to, move it a little bit." Wow. Okay. What is the weirdest or controversial belief I would publicly defend? One that I have a good reason I can prove is true, and one that just feels like it is and should be. Uh, I don't know. I mean, that's one that I guess I should have put out and asked for questions ahead of time. Then I could have maybe mulled that over. I don't know if I have any controversial beliefs. What's my most controversial belief?
I don't know, but astrology popped into my head because of what Theodore said.
What did he say?
He went to have his palm read or his cards read or something after he kind of got us together.
Hmm.
And the lady that he went to see was like, "Oh, you did something really good. You got these people together, and they're supposed to be together." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, let's talk about me." So that was kind of I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird and interesting. It's controversial. A lot of people think
I
it's
guess I
junk. You know, horoscope. Read your horoscope every day. If it's a suck one, it doesn't apply to you. It applies to somebody else.
I I can see that. I mean, I
It's a
guess
little on the light side. Sorry.
no, no. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say I really believe in that per se, and I do know that there's a cold reading aspect to all of that too. That is very, very difficult. If you listen to a lot of it, read a lot of the stuff, it's like they put things in a manner to where, for example, let me see. Sometimes people can really get under your skin in a group gathering. Yeah, that's everybody. And you'll listen to somebody's, and then they might even say the opposite of like, in a group gathering, you're having so much fun that others don't always bother you. And it could be later in the same conversation. So there are some aspects of that. And I don't know. It's just so weird.
You
Um
have to ponder.
yeah. Let me see. Have I ever taken any of the classes that Scott and Greg offers? I have them both, and I have started them both. Sadly, not yet. I haven't gotten through them because, well, I'm always researching for the next interview. So I'm not always good at being able to take the classes or do the things. I can suggest them and have the people on, but not being able, I just don't have the time. I have a difficult time. I already neglect many duties that I should have here. See vacuuming that I have to do now.
And present wrapping.
And
Hello.
present wrapping. Hello.
Because who are you wrapping presents for?
The only one who matters.
Yeah, that's not going to help.
I'm not wrapping my own presents.
Yeah, no, they've been wrapped for a while.
All right. Never been to Montana. Oh, we're running long. Goodness.
Agree about the genealogy.
Ah,
We all go back to that famous great 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 grand amoeba.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And the bottom thing is, we needed to learn to climb the tree so we could live.
And not get eaten.
Actually, that's somebody I've been in contact with that I need to get back with to have on. Is
You do.
they there was a show, I think it was 2016, might have been National Geographic, The Great Human Race. And it was a scientist and a survivalist who acted as a couple, and they survived the same way that people did in all the different periods of time. And I had a connection to him, and that never occurred for the podcast, but I will have to see about getting him on, because that I think is a little outside of the norm, but I think is just fascinating on how do we survive and thrive in all the different periods, and what kind of stresses he was under, because the film crew wasn't allowed to help them, unless they were mortally injured or something like that. But so they had a film crew around them, but they had to live like garbage. And I'm sure that was quite a treat when you have the film crew doing whatever they want, and they're having to, oh, we haven't discovered fire yet, so we're freezing our butts off in the middle of the night, shivering, and they're probably over there smoking and joking. That would suck. All right. Let's see. Nom, yes, so many different distant cousins who are famous and notorious. It's more genealogy. Awesome.
I have a feeling that a lot of ours are just as boring as we are. Although,
True.
I'm sorry, hats off to the ladies, wearing corsets, having 13 kids, running a household, smiling through it all, no air conditioning, no running water. Ugh. Thank you, ladies. I couldn't have done it.
All right, let's see. Time that went really off the beaten path to find tidbits out. I've never done anything too crazy. I will try to find web articles or mentions or things like that, whatever's out there public record. Or I might ask somebody, "Hey, what would be a good question to ask somebody about?" I did that asking a question for Chris Hadnagy. I asked Robin Dreek, who's a friend of his, and got a great question there, like, tell me about something that you guys did together or whatever. But I guess that maybe a good example would be the Jim Clemente interview, which is actually a podcast interview. Jim Clementi's also been on YouTube as well, but I interviewed him on the podcast first. So, by the way, did you know I have a podcast? Please check it out, unstructuredpod.com. But it's found as unstructured in any player you guys want to check out if you want to hear it. There's 200 plus episodes of other interviews that you haven't heard before. But Jim Clemente, in kind of a off-branded paper or magazine, there was a PDF deep in his site, and he talked about, and I believe it's English, they talked about him having bone cancer, which is essentially leukemia. And I was like, that's interesting. I had never seen it before or anything else. It was just one obscure reference. I found it not long before the interview, and I brought it up to him, and that opened up an entire conversation with him as one of the more impactful interviews I've had. And he talked about how he worked in the rubble of the Pentagon and the World Trade Center during 9/11. And I believe it was like the week before he had buried another one of his compadres who worked there because they were all getting sick. And if you guys have been watching, Jon Stewart has been, working the funds for it. And he himself got sick and then had heart problems. He died on the table and then came back. So there's a whole lot there. And that was, one of those really off kilter deep references. Let me see. Sam, if I had a whole day to myself without anything having to do anything else, what would be a perfect day? Wow, I don't know. I really don't have a set thing because I feel like it's kind of like the vacation question earlier, but I don't know necessarily what I want until I see it a lot of times. So I love it when we go together to a place and we just wander around, and especially like in the middle of July, and it's like I want ice cream, and we just walk and get ice cream. So I don't know. It's sometimes a simplistic thing. You?
Yeah, that serendipity is kind of nice. Um, I don't know. Sometimes we do that now, just at home, just chill out and, randomly watch something, listen to music, just sit and talk.
Yeah, yeah, we do that.
We're
All right.
boring. We're so
That's why I have guests, folks. That's why I have guests. Let me see. Eva, and I know I'm skipping around a bit, but um, you're sorry you're late. And what podcast app do I use? My favorite apps are Pocket Casts and Overcast. I'm on an iPhone, so those would be my favorite. And I don't know why. A lot just like Overcast. I kind of like going back and forth between those two, but I have pretty much all the apps. And yes, I agree, Joy Catcher. We did find the right people.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mitch. Merry Christmas to you and Amber. Now, guys, Mitch is actually a local friend of mine, and he is somebody who I will walk with, and I'm hoping to trick him into maybe doing a little interview and probably be in the members section or something. Hopefully he's still listening. He hasn't run off, or maybe it'd be better if he doesn't hear because he could start hiding. Mitch is an amazing guy, though. The guy runs bikes. He's a machine. Does ultra marathons all the way up to 100 miles. He's just a monster. Great friend, amazing guy, and super talented carpenter too. Leslie kind of wants to get a little bit of Mitch rubbed off on me.
You could build stuff for me. That'd be great.
Let's see. DK me. Thank you for super chat. Is there someone in history you'd want to interview? Yeah, one who pops in mind immediately would be Mark Twain, just for it. But another one that pops in my mind, I think Leslie appreciated, would be Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Because between the two of those, there's just so much knowledge and humor and everything else is incredible.
Add Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay. I have a feeling. Well, okay.
What?
Leslie wants to interview Queen Elizabeth I. I mean, she'd be interesting, but I don't know, not as dynamic. I mean, I'd be interested in how she survived.
Excuse me, what?
Just to me. Sorry.
Mm.
Uh-oh.
Off with your head.
Well, see, that's the other thing. I might not survive it. Okay.
Baby Yoda.
Well, folks, everybody's running out. I am, to wrap it up, I'm going to find any more super chats to make sure I get it. Maggie Smith, thank you very much. And thank you. And by the way, I do love doing subjects that people are not doing, but I always would love input, especially if you like something more, less, otherwise, or you have ideas. There's essentially where I am trying to fill content as much as I can. Eve, I forgot to get wait cows. Wow. There's still a lot here.
You're going a little fast.
I know. We're wrapping up, and I know that everybody here has to have a life too. And I see that people.
Phrenology? Oh, that's funny.
Phrenology.
Phrenology 101.
Oh God, cute. Yeah, phrenology 101 is not what probably Charlie Foxtrot. For you, sorry. Leslie pointed one out to get right here. Which portmanteau? I have a very short-lived show, and I hope to get back to it because I love portmanteaus. Take two words, smash them together. I would say that Charlie Foxtrot would be the portmanteau, which is short for C F word or cluster F word. So that's pretty much the year. And folks, this has been amazing.
Merry Christmas.
And thank you so much for all the questions. I know I didn't get to them all. If you want to add more in the comments, I definitely will be going to the comments, and I will answer questions there, especially if I have to think about them a bit more. So if I miss something here in the chat, which obviously I did, I just scrolled through like 100 messages, and I apologize for that. Please put it down in the comments. That helps feed the algorithm too. And I'm really honored that you're here. You're making this such a wonderful event. Leslie and I were even talking about it beforehand. We're like, well, it might be 10 minutes. We don't know. We don't know if a bunch of people show up, and I'm just blown away that you all have, and I'm blown away that the show has grown so much. I was actually planning to do a solo Ask Me Anything at 10,000 subscribers. I'm not there yet, and Christmas is here. So I'm close. Tell a friend. I'll get there. But everybody, thank you so much. And
thanks for spending Christmas Eve with us.
Yes, and
great.
Now spend it with your family.
Yes.
And look out for them. And
Yes.
thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.